Every single night, I remember I would just be, in bed with my parents and I'd just be crying my heart out. Growing up with somebody who's disabled, especially in an Asian family who does not talk about their feelings, it's hard.
It just really clicked after all that work for me to be like, oh, I actually am enough.
So I think it was that kind of burden. My parents were always behind my back. They're like, you gotta get good grades, like college is the only way to go.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Highest Version Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Philivong, and on this podcast, we talk about falling in love with the process of getting better every day and becoming the highest version of ourselves. Today's guest is Cortney Qiu, a competitive golf player who is passionate about cooking and culture and is embarking on her own journey on how to connect with others and create that stronger relationship. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Cortney. Hey, Cortney.
Hey,
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. And I know we're going to unpack and open up, some things. And, I just can't wait for our conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like every time at our friend gatherings, when I'm not taking shots, we are having more of deep and wellness conversations, be like, what's up, what's going on and stuff like that. So I think we do very well of blocking out extra noise and kind of concentrating on what's going on in our lives, which is great. I want to first just, say thank you for coming to be vulnerable and really put ourselves in a very deep and wellness conversation.
Definitely. Thanks for inviting me. I can't wait.
All right, let's get into it. So before we start, I want to get into the featured Funko Pop of the episode. And the Funko Pop I chose for you is the lovely Disney princess Mulan. And the reason why I chose Mulan, don't be racist, I know you people. The reason why I chose Mulan is because of you guys' personality. So you guys have a strong family connection and culture, but you guys are also very both strong-willed in who you are and very independent in what you're striving for. And when I was thinking about, our conversations and kind of the journey that you set me offline, I feel like Mulan was the best character to really portray you in that. I want to get your quick thoughts about my similarities I have with you and Mulan.
That's really funny because last night we were watching Mulan. So big coincidence.
Guys, I was sixth sense for this stuff. Seriously.
No, but I mean, I totally agree. Like Mulan's definitely my favorite character and somebody I definitely looked up to growing up, especially because, on screen there weren't many Asian characters. Right. So she's definitely somebody I looked up to and definitely one of my big role models.
A wonderful movie, obviously, from the beginning to start. I did want to ask if you had to choose between the two side characters, technically three. I forgot which is I forgot the name of the horse, but there's the horse, and then there's Mushu, and then Cricket. So if you had to pick one of those three to be your sidekicks, who would it be?
Definitely Mushu.
Yes. Thank you. And the Cricket is very lucky, but Mushu just, it's a good companion to have.
I mean, on my zodiac is also a dragon.
Oh, is it?
So
I didn't know that. Wait, was it Year of the Dragon last?
2000, yeah. So
okay.
2024.
Gotcha. Okay. And do you feel that? Michelle told me in Chinese culture, I think if it's your year, that's lucky, or the year after that.
The year after.
Okay, the year after. Okay.
Your year is very unlucky.
Guys, I'm getting all this wrong right now. It's all good. All right, Cortney, I want to start off with same question that I ask all my guests. How is your mental health nowadays?
It's definitely better than where I was, many years ago. But I think it's still a journey, right? Like you're never going to be happy all the time. You're never going to be okay all the time. It's just, it's a gradual process. And you just get to a place where you're like, I think I'm okay with being alive.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I totally resonate with that in terms of our happiness, our emotions, our sense of feeling, contentment, all that stuff. Like it's all temporary. Yeah. But I would say like you said, we all strive to be at a place where we're mostly content and happy with where we are. Again, I'm happy things are a little better than they were before. But, we are always, going up and down in an emotional roller coaster. So overall, I'm happy that here things are a little bit better. So I want to start off with my first question and maybe unpacking probably the biggest package, I think.
Yeah.
And that is your sister and your culture.
Yeah.
I know today specifically has been a very important day because of your sister Audrey.
Yeah.
And talking offline, you were telling me about how your sister and culture was really a big part of your identity.
Oh, yeah.
But you were searching to find yourself outside of that.
Yeah.
So I want to just kind of unpack, why your sister and your culture was such a big part of you.
So I guess I'll start at the beginning. Kind of give a little background. So my sister Audrey, she's 7 years older than me. Big age gap. And then, she's smart, first daughter, everything.
Yeah.
Smart, really good with school. She skipped 2 grades.
Wow. Yep.
Has the IQ of a college student, everything. But since I've been born, she's been in and out of hospital. She was diagnosed with autoimmune diseases. So, my whole life was, going to hospitals, looking at doctors, listening to all these medical terms. And then when I was 6 was when she had her big brain injury. So she had internal brain bleeding, which left her with pneumonia and a stroke. And then because of that, she was completely paralyzed on her left side and then partially paralyzed on her right side. So she was in the hospital for about 10 months, I think, in a coma for the first 3.
Wow.
So I wasn't able to see her. So the day it happened, I think it was like the beginning of the school year. So she woke up screaming. My parents heard her, but I didn't hear her. So when I woke up, she was already kind of slipping into a coma. So like my parents were like, "Oh, we're just gonna take her to the hospital. Everything will be okay. Drop me off at school."
Yep.
I come back, and then my parents pick me up, and they're like, "Oh, like she's in the ER. They transported her to the hospital that's 2 hours away, the one that she normally goes to." And they're like, "We're just gonna wait and see." But at the time, I didn't know she was in a coma. She was hooked up to all the wires. Doctors didn't know what was going on. They had no idea the brain bleeding was happening. So I didn't see her for 3 months because my parents were afraid that I would get scared looking at her.
So your parents would try to protect you.
Yeah. So they were afraid like I would like going into the room because she'd be hooked up to all the wires. They were scared that like if I saw her, like I wouldn't recognize she was my own sister, essentially. So, it'd just be the same routine. My parents would, pick me up, drop me off at school. I would get picked up by family friends, stay there. My dad would come pick me up. Cycle continues. Yeah. Every single night, I remember I would just be, in bed with my parents and I'd just be crying my heart out. Because I'd be like, I don't want to see her. Like, when is she coming home? Like, I just want her home kind of thing. And then, finally I get to see her before Halloween. And, at 6, you're very, gullible.
Yeah. Yep. No, I would agree. Yeah.
So I'm talking with my dad about Halloween costumes, and he goes, "What do you want to be for Halloween?" And, 6 years old, I'm like, "Yeah, Disney princess." And then I asked my dad, and he goes, "George W. Bush."
Okay. Okay. That's wild. Okay. All right, continue. Yeah.
So I go see my sister that weekend, and I'm, 6 years old, standing next to her bed on like this footstool. And, I go, "Audrey, guess what Daddy wants to be for Halloween?" Dramatic pause. And then I go, "George W. Bush." And she's just, in bed, and she starts laughing. And all the nurses are so surprised because she's never laughed before. That was the first time she laughed. Everybody's going crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing here going, I don't get what's so funny.
This is normal. What are you guys talking about? Oh my God.
So, but fast forward, she comes home, and, through all that, I think growing up with somebody who's disabled, especially in an Asian family who does not talk about their feelings, it's hard. Like, nobody tells you the stress, you go through. Like, my sister's there going through exercises every day, but there are some days she doesn't want to do it. And she's just there, screaming, crying. My mom wants her to get better, but my mom's there, screaming at her, like, you got to do this, or else, you're just going to be on the floor. Like, there have been many times where my mom's threatened her, you know, with things that, you know, a mom shouldn't threaten you with.
Right. Yep.
But, you know, it's hard, you know, at that age, especially going through it, you know, when you're 6, going into teenage years, just watching your sister and your mom having to go through that. And then, you know, my dad's on the side trying to be the peacemaker. But obviously with, you know, when you have a mom that's stubborn, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. The dad has no part in it. It's just, I support where you can. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
So I'm not embarrassed about it. But at that age, like as a teenager, you're like, you know, it's embarrassing. Like, why do I have to, like, when we go to concerts or something, why do I have to sit all the way in the back? Like, why can't I sit forward more? Like, when we go somewhere, like, why do we always have to go this way or go that way? Like, why can't I do this?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Or like, if I want to do this, oh, we can't because your sister can't do it, so you can't do it. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, you know, learning that you have to sacrifice some things, but also at that age, why do I have to sacrifice?
Yeah. Did you build up a lot of resentment at some point? Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, even though my sister and I had a very good relationship with each other, you know, there are some days where I just didn't want to help her. Like, I didn't want to, you know, be her caregiver. And it's, you know, it's just simple things like, you know, helping her get her computer and, you know, tilting her down for her nap or something. But it's like, you know, some days I just don't want to do it, so I just throw it and be like, why are you annoying me? Like we would just get into these like petty fights because, like, you know, it's just, I don't want to do it. And on the flip side, she knows I don't want to do it, and she knows she's a burden. Yeah. But she can't do anything about it. So it's like, you know, those days.
Yeah. I bet your mom was also ripping into you because she was like, you need to do this for your sister.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then on the flip side, my mom was also telling my sister, she's like, you know, like, you know, everybody has to do this because you're this way, kind of thing. You know, it's not something my sister could have controlled.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's also like, you know, she knows she's a burden. But on the flip side, my mom's always like, you know, you're a burden. Like, we have to do this for you, that for you, this for you. You know, your parents sacrificed this much. Your sister has to do this for you. It's like all these things. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of resentment that grows up.
Yeah. I can't imagine what that's like because obviously, you know, your sister didn't ask for it. I don't think anybody would want to ask for that. And on top of that, having someone else berate you because for something that you can't control. Yeah. Obviously at a young age, like it's hard to navigate. But did anything help you at that time being like you know, just kind of experiencing that kind of turmoil, or were you just coping in the best way that you could?
At that age, because I think I didn't know anybody else going through it. It just seems like it was my family at the time. So it was very much, I just kind of coped through it. You know, I just kind of, if something happens, I cry my eyes out and then the next day pretend nothing happened kind of thing. My dad, I think, tried to talk about it, but obviously with Asian parents, there's only so much you can go into with your feelings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Until they're like, you know, you just got to suck it up and live. Like, you know, that's just life. Yeah. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
That's their cop-out answer. I freaking swear that's their cop-out answer because they're like, I don't know what else to do. I don't blame them either because, you know, that's probably how their parents probably told them. Like, like, oh, just suck it up. Yeah. But it's like, oh, like, you know, there's other ways too. It just takes a little bit more work. Yeah. Yeah. So was home sometimes just that place that was more of a problematic environment versus just a safe haven to you?
My room was my safe haven. But even then, I don't think it was necessarily the home. I think it was more my own mother, you know? Yeah. Like parents wise. Like, it's just, my mom has her own way of thinking. And when people are stubborn like that, you cannot change how they think, no matter what you say, kind of thing. And I think it was always hard because she was always in her head that she was right. And even if she wasn't right, she was still right.
Yep. Little definition of stubbornness. Yep, you're right.
So in those cases, it was always me that had to apologize. I was always the one apologizing, even if I felt like I never did anything wrong. I'd always be like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done this. I won't do it again. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. You know, same spiel every single time. So I think it was those kind of things where it's just, you know, I didn't like it because my mom would be yelling her head off. I'd be there, you know, crying because I just cry out of frustration. It's not anything. But my mom would be like, you know, you're weak. Like, why are you like this kind of thing? And, you know, it would take for my dad to come home before she would calm down. because I couldn't calm her down at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, as an Asian parent, she'd take anything and just throw it at the wall.
Yeah.
I've had, washcloths thrown at me. I've had the soup spoons, ceramic soup spoons thrown at me, broken. I've had bowls thrown at me. Everything and anything.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. No, I mean, do you think your mom, I'm not validating what your mom was doing to you, but do you think she was frustrated because of just her family? Like, because of the life situation?
I think so. Like, a lot of times my mom would be like, she doesn't feel like anybody appreciated her. Because, ever since my sister was sick, my mom would be the one to take her to the hospital, driving back and forth, appointments, et cetera, et cetera. And I would be there too. Like, my mom told me, she's literally carried me since I was in the baby carrier. Like, that's how long it's been, like, since she's been doing it. Well, my dad works all day. So I think my mom's just frustrated by the fact that, she's trying to maintain this household, cooking, cleaning, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Well, also has 2 daughters she has to take care of, one who's disabled and then one who's has to go to college.
Yeah. Right.
All those things. Well, my dad, just gets to go out and just, continuous work schedule.
Same. Yeah. Gotcha. How has the healing been for that part of your life? Like, where are we with that?
Definitely in a better place.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think, I hate to say it, I think, definitely after my sister passed away, there was that, lull of, oh, like, we don't have to do this anymore kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's also kind of that sense of relief, like, oh, we actually don't have to do this anymore. Like, we don't have to, it's not constantly in the back of our heads kind of thing. There's that guilt, but relief.
Yeah.
And then I think because of that, my mom's definitely been a lot more relaxed. She's kind of, be able just to live kind of thing. And then now that I'm, out of the house, I think she's like, I really don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And she's like, so my mom's always like constantly calling me. Like, if I don't call for like 4 days, she's like, are you okay?
Wow. Flipping the switch, huh?
She's like, are you alive?
Oh, wow. Well, when it's like years ago, it's a bowl to the face, spoon to the face. Wow, that's crazy how parents can switch up, can't they?
Literally. And like, there are like some days like I still get frustrated at her and she still says stuff to me. But then like I call my dad and he's like, your mom just misses you. Like, your mom just wants to be a part of your life. And I'm like, oh, really?
Oh, now you want to do it, huh? Yeah, yep.
Really? Are you sure? Because that's not what I'm hearing over the phone.
Yeah, navigating those parent relationships can be tough for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and obviously I know you and your sister had a very like, special relationship and you love her tremendously. For people who that may be the primary caregiver or have a sibling or family member that is disabled, what is something that you think that could help them now that you're reflecting on, that kind of journey that you had at that part of your life?
I think you just got to take it one day at a time. Because every day is different, right? You never know if, like, one day they have more pain, they have less pain. One day they're more comfortable or they're not. Or they're just going through some things. I think it's just, take it one day at a time. Sometimes just sleep it off. Like, if you feel resentful, just let it happen. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I mean, it's your life. Like, unfortunately, it got taken away from you. But what can you do?
Right.
That's just the life that you're given. You just have to accept it at that point. But I think also just, when there are happy days, enjoy the happy days. Like, sometimes they're going to come less and less. And, you just got to just accept the fact and just keep on moving.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very great pieces of advice. And I know a lot of people can fall into this kind of victim mindset. I'm not going to act like I, went through something similar or kind of these crazy like upbringings. I like to say my upbringing was very privileged, and I acknowledge that now being older. Not to say I didn't have my own struggles for sure. But I think finding a way to keep moving forward, being appreciative of every single moment is definitely huge. I know a past guest, he was actually my first guest on the show. And he saw his mom and sister literally like, slowly like get closer to death as he was growing up. And he never like complained about anything. And, I'm on a mission to help them. I felt like he kind of said the same thing. He's like, this is what I have to do now. And, that's just how it is. It is what it is.
Right.
Either way, we just have to keep finding a way to keep moving forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question I want to ask in terms of like reflecting on that
Mhm.
time, how do you think you would have handled like juggling all that? Because obviously you were under a surmount amount of pressure. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I just like woke up and just did it.
Yeah.
Like that was like this is my life, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think it's also like I think you just gotta look forward to some things. Like I know for golf tournaments, I would look forward to seeing friends
Mhm.
because that was one of the big things. You made a lot of friends because you see them over and over at golf
Right.
tournaments.
Yeah.
So being able to see them, and then violin was just violin. I've been with my teacher, I think at that point for 10 plus years.
Wow.
So like it was just a kind of something different day to day. Being able to see my teacher. Kind of thing, and then school was school.
Yeah, school. Yeah.
But it's just the amount of pressure that went into it because especially in high school you have to get ready for college,
right?
So it's like all the college applications, visiting school, seeing because I was going for the golf team in college, so seeing what golf team fit me, if I liked the coach, all those kind of things. But sister,
yeah,
at the same time,
sister at the same time, yeah. I think it's very simple, but having when that pressure comes and all stuff, like you're just so strong-willed to just be like, I just got to do it. Obviously there were times you've cried and you had to release that, but you always found a way to just do it. And was that just a mindset that you just somehow built, or your mom was just like, that's how like she kind of nurtured you in that way?
I think it was kind of both, because I think my sister also played a huge part in it. Like, to be honest, when she had the brain bleeding, I don't think she was supposed to live, to be fair, based on what she told me. And the only reason why she kept on fighting was because she knew I was at home waiting for her.
Oh.
So that was the reason she kept on, fighting. And there were so many times after that where she's been, close to death, but she managed to come back. And, every time, like, I think her reason would be, because my sister's waiting for me. Like, I know my sister's, like, wants me to come home. So I think it's also that kind of mindset, it's like, I can't leave my sister. Like, because of my mom, there are so many times where my sister was like, I can just, just die. Like, I can just go right now. But she's like, I'm not going to do that because you're still here. Like, I want you to, I'm here for you, essentially. So I think my mindset was also the same. Because there are, times where I've like, I wanted to go.
Yeah.
There are times where I've like opened the cutlery drawer and I looked at a knife and I'm like, what can I do with this kind of thing? Like, there are times where I've just stared at it. But, ultimately I've always just closed it because I'm like, my sister's still here. Or like, what if there's like something tomorrow that could make me really happy and I'm going to miss it? That kind of mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, getting that close, I didn't even think about on your side as well, like getting that close too, because of how much pressure you're going to, obviously seeing your sister. And did you feel like, I wouldn't say a burden, maybe a burden, because you felt like your sister was staying strong-willed to be alive because of you?
I think it was more a burden on school.
Yeah.
And being smart, because, my parents, consciously or unconsciously, they would always compare the both of us in terms of school. Like, my sister was always really good at writing and language arts and that kind of thing, and I sucked at it. Like, I could write, but my sister would always go into depth, and like I didn't have that kind of deep thinking that teachers want when you're writing essays.
Yeah.
So my parents, always nagged me on it, and they're like, your sister could do this. Like, your sister was always really good at this. Like, why can't you do this? Like, you just got to think harder. Like, think deeper.
Yeah. Like, how the do I do that? You don't think I've been trying to think harder?
They're like, go deeper. Like, put more detail into it. And I'm like, I'm trying.
Bro, that's just adding more to us. That's just adding more words. Yeah, you want to go deeper? Fine, more words that mean nothing. It all say the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like, I think it was like that kind of burden because, like, I know my sister was smart and everybody knew she was smart.
Yeah,
but I just couldn't live up to that school expectation of it. And so I think it was that kind of burden. My parents were always behind my back. They're like, you got to get good grades. Like, college is the only way to go. Like, if you don't have college, you're going to, die. No, you need a roof over your head. You need food on the table, like simple stuff, which I get from their perspective. But at that age, it's like, why do I care?
Yeah. You're like, just let me be me. And they're like, you don't even know what that means. Yeah, no, I all the things that you're saying, being compared, pressure, I mean, it's a lot to deal with at a young age.
Oh yeah.
But I think I think it still obviously lives with us to this day.
Yeah.
And helps us be more successful.
Yeah.
And I realized I just totally lost the point of even my first question, but like, how were you able to find yourself outside of your sister and your culture?
I will have to say I owe it all to a lot of mentors that I had growing up, especially a lot of my golf coaches, for sure. Like I think my last golf coach, she was really instrumental in being like, you can do it. Like, just like, don't think about any outside stuff, but just always remind yourself that you can do it. And then I had another golf coach who was like, she likes to call herself Wonder Woman. So she always likes to remind us, like, you're Wonder Woman. Like, you can always do things if you set your mind to it. Like, don't put yourself down. And even if you put yourself down, like, you can always get back up. Like, don't tear yourself down to that point. So it was also but I think also just living, like going to college and getting away from everything and starting fresh, I think was really instrumental into the fact that, I can finally be like, oh, like, this is what I like to do. This is what, my interests are. And it's outside of everything.
Gotcha.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, how was that experience? Like, just trying to find new things, like new interests, like, just in college, because that's what college is supposed to be for.
It's hard, I think, especially for me, because I'm so shy.
Okay, fair.
I'm so shy. And to be able to, like, even put myself out there is a big struggle. Like, putting up my hand for class.
Yeah.
I had to, like, pep talk myself, like, at least 3 days in advance.
You're like, all right, 1 more inch every single day. I definitely feel that. I feel like there was a point where I think there was a class, I think I was in stats. Yeah. And, like, no, not that nobody around me, but like I hate when like the teacher asks questions, it's silence. I'm like, guys, come on, like, this isn't like, at least someone say something. Like, I don't want to keep doing it. Right. I'm not saying that in a boastful way of like, but it's more of like, I just like every time I raise my hand because I don't want to be like the nerd or whatever like that. I'm just like this, but obviously no one's raising their hand, so he sees that my hand's like this. He's like, Randy, and I was like, yeah, I think it's this. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, come on, guys, like, pick it up. I want to leave class early, that's, I can see how, trying to find yourself again while also being like more on the introvert or shy side, it's definitely tough. But when did you find that thing where you're like, okay, like kind of opened yourself up a little bit more?
I will say it wasn't until senior year.
That's fair. That's fine. Yeah.
I think, but what also helped, I think, was getting into dance groups. Like, that definitely helped a lot. And by senior year, I was co-pres for 2 clubs. And I think just being in that position of, leading the younger people, it's very rewarding. And the fact that, you have these like faces staring up at you, with big eyes, and they like look at you like you're God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, you're the best dancer in the whole world. I'm like, yeah, no, you're wrong, but I'm gonna keep that. Yeah. And it's just like all these things, like where they're so thankful, they get to do this, or like you provide them with the opportunities, like, those kind of things where, I think I really broke out of my shell, but also just meeting people. Yeah. Being in that position, you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to, see like who you like, who you don't like, and you kind of get to flourish a little bit. I think that really helped a lot. Yeah, you got to talk to like every other person in different orgs, because obviously you're arranging things, but also like you talk to the newbies because you want to be the first person to like welcome them and stuff like that. Yeah, obviously before COVID, that was a great time. Oh yeah. Yeah. And do you feel like you have a different personality when you dance? I think it's the same personality. Same? Really? Yeah, okay. It's definitely the same for sure. Like, I think because I'm more like the innocent, cutesy kind of thing. Gotcha. So when I do those dances, like, you can definitely tell like that's my personality. Yeah. So doing like maybe something that's more aggressive and out there, that's out of your comfort zone. Oh, that's definitely out of my comfort zone. I have to say, like, I assume a different personality. It's crazy. I don't know if it's just a performance thing or like just personality thing. I don't know, because a lot of people say when they see me dance, like, like you're so like confident and all that stuff. And I'm like,
It takes me a while to be like, oh, let me like put myself out there.
Yeah.
Like, unless they come up to me, then like I'm like, okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't mind doing all that stuff. But yeah, everyone's like, oh, like you're so cool and all that stuff. And I was like, bro, I'm weird as fuck. Like, you have no idea what that's like. And they're like, really? And then I was like, yeah, I'm actually like really like shy, and, like really scared. And, like, really? Like that's not how you like. I sometimes had to be in like more feminine dances, and like obviously I'm not gonna be up there and like shy, like shaking my ass. I have to be super confident in it. But that's where like I feel like I'm such a different personality. So that's why I was curious on whether you assume different one. So,
but I mean, it definitely shows though. Like I remember the first time I saw you on stage, I think my freshman year. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I think you were like the one of the like few people that popped out. Mm-hmm. Like when I saw you dance, it was like like you have this aura about you that's like it's really cool and really confident. And I think like you're like I was like, oh my God, like he's so cool. Mm-hmm. And then I think I met you a couple months later when you were helping us film, when you were helping our dance group film, with the gimbal and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, like he's so nice. And, like he's so cool and everything. And like, oh, it's like I want to be friends with him, but I'm like, he's so popular. And I'm like, I don't know if I could be friends with him.
Guess what? A few years later, you are now. and then you came to realize, wow, he's so weird. I don't remember. Do you remember what choreo or song or dance that was?
It was for Rainbow Jelly's "What Is Love." Like you were helping us film.
Oh, that's right.
But I think the dance where I really, was like, oh wow, he's so cool. Was it to Happier? So it was my song.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one. Ooh, wow, you thought it was cool and one of the most sad songs I've ever done.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Or I think it was just that whole set.
Oh
I think was really.
Yeah. What's funny? It was like I was going through things at that time, and like I was just like, I have to put on performance,
right. Yeah.
Glad I gave off that aura. I definitely was not feeling that at that time. So Cortney, obviously you brought up many times that you played golf for all your life and was even in the collegiate space. Mm-hmm. I've never talked to someone who's had that kind of experience before. Yeah. So I want to know what your schedule was like, what habits kind of transitioned to you today and how that's helpful. Let's start with those two because I do have another follow-up to that. Yeah.
So schedule was it was crazy because I got into it end of middle school, early high school. So schedule was go to school, come home, eat lunch, straight to the golf course. But because I was also playing high school golf, so it's also high school practice.
Yeah.
5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Mm-hmm. So it was that plus high school tournaments, and then on weekends I was doing my own tournaments. Mm-hmm. But I had made a deal with my parents that I can't do a tournament every single weekend. Too much, brutal. I don't have a weekend at that point.
Yeah.
So we made a deal, only 2 tournaments per month. But because of the tournaments, we usually have to play a practice round to kind of like get a sense of how the golf course is.
Right.
So the weekend before would be the practice round.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see why your weekend's just not there.
Yeah. So, it'd just be, golf. Literally every single day. I'd be on the golf course for 4 hours.
Jeez.
Every day. Mm-hmm. And just, going back and forth. And tournaments Saturdays are from 11 to 6 p.m. Sundays are from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Oh, this sounds awful. Okay.
And, it was all over Florida. So I'd be driving 2 hours up.
2 hours to get to, oh my God. Okay.
Because I don't think my parents believed in hotels.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if they didn't believe in hotels, but they were like, if we can drive, we don't need the hotel.
Yeah. Expensive. For them, it's expensive too. Yeah.
So, if it was a 6 a.m. tea time, I'd be up at 3.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But I could at least sleep.
Yeah.
My poor parents, they have to have to drive.
Yeah.
But, at the beginning, because I couldn't drive, so my parents were always, shuttling me back and forth. I hated my parents on the golf course. My dad was okay. Mm-hmm. I hated my mom on the golf course.
Was she like heckling you or?
So my mom has this habit of like, if she doesn't know something, she learns it as like I'm learning it. So she got to a point where she really understood golf, like everything. Uh-huh. And if I hit a bad shot or like I start to do bad, her face is just, it falls. And I can see it because she's, you know, all the way in the front.
Yeah.
And every time I'm walking towards, you know, the hole, I just see her face. And if it's not happy, it's not happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, I hated it. And it's also like, my parents didn't like the fact that I was quote unquote socializing on the golf course.
Okay.
Like, they didn't like that I was like, you know, having fun and talking with, you know, the other people on the golf course, because they're like, you're distracting yourself, like you're like, that's why you're doing so bad, like you're, you know, you're not in the right mindset.
Yeah. But didn't I was gonna say, well, didn't you know it's my tactic to distract them?
So it's like those kind of things. So it's like, you know, it's like that constant burden of like, I have to do good. But in golf, you can't overthink. The minute you overthink, goodbye game. Yeah, it's out the window. And so you hit one bad shot, if you overthink that shot, the rest of your game goes downhill. So it was the habit of trying not to overthink, but overthink. Yep. Because you have to think, what did I do wrong on the next shot that I don't do on the next shot? But you can't be like, oh shit, like, you know, it went in the water. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. You know, it'd just be, what can I do on the next to make it better?
Golf is such a mental, like, sport.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, well, I kind of like compare a little bit with tennis on each point. Like, you're like, you have to think about what you did wrong, but then like the next, you're playing the next point like right then and there. So you don't have time to do that. And I mean, even when you're playing on the course, like, you don't really have a coach in your ear. It's just like you have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, it's all notes. Yeah. And like, you can like, sometimes like my parents were allowed to like caddy, so like help me push the golf course and stuff when I was younger. So like, they were like coaching in my ear. So they were backseat coaching essentially. Like, my parents backseat coach a lot. And like, it got to a point where like my golf coaches were like, you gotta stop. Like, stop. Like, stop. Like, I go to my lessons, they'll be, how'd you do? And I'll be like, you know, I like did okay, but like my parents said this and this. And my golf coach would be like, they go to my parents and like, stop. Like, you gotta stop.
Wow, it's gotten to that point? That's crazy.
Like, I told my like golf coach, I'm like, you know, my parents like don't like that I'm socializing and stuff. And my golf coach is like, what do you mean? No socializing. Like, you have to socialize. Like, you can't be like 24/7 thinking about what you're gonna do. Like, you have to like back off like in between shots, or else you're just gonna fry your brain.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Wow, I didn't know that they would get involved like that.
Yeah.
But then, so was there ever a point where you resented golf? Like the sport?
I resented it from the moment I started.
Oh. And you put that yourself that all the way through college?
Yeah.
Wow. And you were doing that just to please your parents, I assume?
In the beginning, yes. I think like my parents hated it when I did it, but I'd always tell people, they're like, people would ask me, why are you playing golf? And I'd be like, my parents made me. And my parents were like, stop saying that. Like, you can't say that.
You can't say anything bad about your parents when you're younger. You cannot say anything bad. They have a reputation to uphold. This like very star-studded family. It's crazy. Yeah, no. Yeah. We were our PR for our parents. We were PR for our parents. Literally. Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, it's true. Like I didn't want this, but I'm still doing it. Because like my parents would be like, oh, be good for college, you know, look good on college applications kind of thing. Yeah. So like, that's why I kept on doing it. But everybody would be like, why'd you do it? My parents. Same answer. Even in college, like, you would say that? Yeah. So I think what happened was, so senior year of high school, I told my parents, you gotta stop coming to my tournaments. Like, stop. Yeah. Like, I cannot have you there. Like, I hate you there. And my dad was like, can we at least like watch you once in the beginning and then at the end? And I was like, that's fine. I was like, drop me off and then leave. Yeah. I was like, something.
I'm done with this shit. Yeah.
Do something. And miraculously, my golf game got better.
Wow. Crazy how that could have worked. Who would have thought? Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, wow. And my parents saw it too. And they're like, oh. I see.
Still all your fault, though. Just kidding.
So because of that, senior year in high school, I start to enjoy it a little bit more. Yeah. And then going into college, freshman year was terrible because I would call my parents after and they'd be yelling at me, being like, why didn't you do this? Like, why'd you play so bad? And, you know, like all my like teammates would like watch me like with tears streaming down my face, like in the back of the bus.
Oh my God.
And they'll be like, you gotta stop calling your parents.
I was gonna say, why? Your parents aren't there no more. Just stop calling them.
I think it's, just being a good daughter.
Being a good daughter, yeah.
And calling. So it'd just
I
be
hear
like,
you.
but then I think spring semester, I learned, do not call them.
Mm-hmm.
Let them just look at the scoreboard. And then sophomore year, I was like, okay, like, I just got to relax. And then I think having good teammates also helps, like good teammate and golf coach, just be like, just relax. Like what is this going to do for your future? All you're doing is just playing college golf. Once you're out of college, like, what's this going to do?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you'll like go with a few execs, but like, that's it.
Yeah. No, golf is a great game to network and obviously have like good, but yeah, I mean, so then how did you feel much lighter like going towards the end of college?
For sure.
Yeah.
And now like, and it's funny, like now I don't do it as much and I'm like, I kind of miss
it. Like, I miss the trauma.
But obviously I don't tell my parents because they're gonna be like, I told you so.
Don't give them that power. Don't give them that power. So what habits did you, I mean, at least being like a college athlete, what habits have you carried on into your personal life? Unless
time management. Learning how to manage your time properly.
Yeah.
But also I think learning to just not overthink. Like, if you overthink, obviously everything's going to go downhill from there. Like, you just got to, accept something went wrong and then just continue on with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going with, like, what's the next step forward?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With, because I know you said time management. What time management skills did that teach you? Just, like, balancing a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, especially for work, I think just learning how to balance multiple priorities, learning, when you have, like, deadlines, like, what to prioritize to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I mean, there's got to be some times where that didn't end up working out, right?
I got close.
Yeah.
Like, there are times where, like, I've just managed, like, by, like, deadline to get it done.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, in the long run, it does help. Because, like, you learn, like, I do this to this from this time, this to this time. And it also helps you, like, kind of block out things as well.
Mm-hmm. Also prioritize, too. Yeah. I feel like we have so much of things to do in life in one day, but I'm pretty sure being a college athlete like definitely helped with that mindset of priorities and time management and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So looking back on kind of your golf journey and just like being in that kind of sport, is there any like I want to say like respects paid, but like any thankfulness that you were in that, like you played that sport or at least got to experience being a college athlete?
I think, yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing with playing golf was it allowed me to meet a lot of really great golf coaches and be a part of so many different programs. I did an internship for this leadership academy for the LPGA, big organization.
Wow.
And I was like their first summer intern. Wow. But it was really cool because I actually attended the leadership academy a couple years prior.
Oh, okay.
And to be able to be in that internship space and kind of, help to kind of inspire the younger generation was really, really inspiring. And, like just, like they look at the big eyes again.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But also being able to see how those golf coaches were able to kind of overcome their struggles and, be who they are today. Those kind of life lessons carry with you along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a nice full circle moment.
Yeah,
in that
for
sense.
sure.
Yeah. I want to transition into, you now. I know a big thing that you're working on is reaching out to others.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a hesitation there because you kind of have this sense of feeling like a burden.
Yeah.
I want to kind of unpack with you and that kind of like ask you questions about, why you feel that way. Where does that feeling of burdensome come from?
I think definitely from childhood for sure. Cause, like having a disabled sibling, that's already a big, headache or like big pressure on my parents' shoulders. But also they have me to think about, trying to get me through college, high school and then college. So I think it was more like, I didn't want to be burdening them too much, especially, money problems or anything else that they had to think about. I'd always be kind of in the background. And I know my parents were always thankful that I didn't want any name brand
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
They'd always be like, I'd always just, find like a random ass t-shirt and be like, I can wear that. Like
Mhm.
if it fits me
Yeah.
and I can wear it, sure.
Yep.
kind of thing. So I think it was like always like I didn't want to put more pressure on my parents. Like I didn't want them to feel like, they owed me something in order to, have me grow or like fit in for school
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So I think because of that, I was always like, I don't want people to think I'm bothering them too much. Like I don't want to bother people.
Mm-hmm.
So even now, like trying to make friends, like, my partner like, keeps like pushing me. He's like, like reach out first. Like what's the worst that can happen? People say no. And I'm like, I don't want to bother them. Like I don't want to take away from their time, but it's also like I just don't want them to think like I'm bothering them too much or like I want to hang out with them, but like I don't want to bother them if they're busy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of mindset that I'm trying to like unteach myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. As someone who's on the other side, not you specifically on reaching out, but I mean, you know me. I've talked to you many times about how like, oh hey, I'm like, I have to edit, I have to do that job, social life. I think hearing, say if you wanted to hang out, like it feels like a good thing, at least on my end, because it's like, oh, okay, like, you want to have like be in a social setting and like, I never feel like when somebody asks me that I'm a burden because on my end, actually, I feel like sometimes people don't reach out to me because they think I'm so busy.
Right.
And like, it's gone to the point where even my parents are like talking to each other, like, don't bother him. And I'm like, guys, like, just send me a text. Like, I'll get to it eventually.
Right.
Like, within like, oh my God, I sound like a business assistant. Get back to you within 1 or 2 business days. But no, I actually like, I make the time because I want to, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, I feel like what can help with that burden is like understanding that if you put yourself out there, I mean, quote unquote, shooting a shot, let them like figure it out. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Take the clear signs.
Yeah.
Right. If they're like ignoring you or anything like that, then obviously be like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna just chill out. Right. But if they're like, oh, hey, like I'm busy now, but like they set up like, hey, what about this week or the following week? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, arranging a hangout with you and your partner. There's sometimes like, oh, like, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Like, can we go to this day, day? Right. I feel bad as the person being like, can we reschedule? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that kind of gives you another perspective about that burdensome,
I think it definitely does, but I think I've experienced some bad situations where I think it just kind of sticks with you. Like those bad situations always stick with you a lot where, I've reached out to someone for dinner and they got confused why I reached out to them.
Confused? Like about eating and hanging out?
Well, because they're like, you reached out of the blue. Like we went to dinner, but she was like, you reached out of the blue. She's like, I thought something happened. She's like, did someone die? Like, did you break up?
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Like she was so confused. And I was like, no, I just wanted dinner.
Just like I've gotten that too. Where like, oh, like I be calling people and they're like, "Are you okay?" Seriously, that's the first thing you're gonna ask me. Or like, yes, I'm okay. I'm just asking how you are. That's the reason I'm calling you. I mean, those experiences definitely will carry with you and definitely will kind of hit you in a different way. Yeah. So I completely understand that. I think life is short. And like you should have the opportunity to hang out with with who you want to reach out to. I know we're getting older. I know we're getting to that point in the stage where I don't want to open up myself to anybody else. Well, like it's really is like just shooting the question and seeing what happens. After that, that's out of your control. Right. And I know people feel that way, having that burdensome, but just always know you're never a burden. And like I think just looking at it at its most simple state of like just want to reach out and hang out with this person. That's it.
That's true.
But again, it's easier said than done. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
What do you think has helped you overcome that a little bit, or like what have you trialed and experimented with?
I think opening up. So this is where the opening up part comes in. I think just being a little more vulnerable, or just being interested in people, like asking them questions, like being interested in what they're saying and just kind of riffing off of what they're saying. Just try to keep the conversation going. I find helps a lot.
Yeah.
You know, people are willing to, you know, talk. Like as soon as people start talking about themselves, they're like, okay, like they'll just keep going.
Yeah. Everyone's very surprised, even for like introverts or shy people, like how much like they can talk about themselves. Yeah. And like, oh, you were holding this in for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like if we want to talk about ourselves, like we can go on and on.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel great because it's like someone's actually interested in how we're thinking.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to quickly ask, like, is there something that we haven't talked about that you wanted to bring up? I know we've gone through a lot of your journey and, you know, we talked about what you're working on now, but anything that you wanted to bring up yourself?
I guess a question for you actually is, I don't know if you've answered this on your other podcast, but like, how did you get to a point where like you feel good about yourself and confident in your everyday life?
Huh. That's a good question. There's a lot of, I mean, there's so many things that impact that, right? So I'm gonna put it in the perspective of like feeling when I finally felt like I was good enough. So I'm gonna talk about when that happened and then what has helped me. So for a period of time, as you know, I was really hard on myself, like, and felt like I was this bad person that nobody wanted to hang out with. I looked at, there was a time after therapy and like working through the narrative that I had for myself was really bad. Right. And I was really questioning some friendships because I was like, oh, like, do they like me? Do they hate me? They haven't reached out to me in a while or anything like that. And I realized it's because of that narrative that really just put myself in that kind of thinking perspective. So anything negative that I thought it was, or was reading into too much, like really made me feel like, okay, like I'm just a bad person and they don't want to hang out with me. Yeah. As I started to go through therapy and go through and rework that narrative and really looking at myself and questioning myself, like, do you actually think nobody likes you? Yeah. And it's just like, no. Like, as the more I did that, the more I asked myself that question, I realized that it was just me. Yeah. Like, it was just me being very hard on myself. Yeah. And luckily, I've been able to have birthday parties, right? Where a lot of people show up. Yeah. And I'm like, don't you see, like, this is, like, nobody would show up if they didn't like you. You know what I mean? You wouldn't get invited to, like, you know, gatherings and stuff like that if nobody liked you. And I think when I finally felt it was when, I think it was it my last birthday? 25? When it was like, it was the era of me. Oh, you were dressed up as you. Yeah. I think that's when I felt like I was finally enough, which is crazy because I was 25? Right, yeah. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because when I looked around, I was like, you know, everyone genuinely loves me. Yeah. You know? And I was reading all, like, my partner had everyone, not everyone, but write down like what they liked about me or a birthday message. Yeah. And I was reading through them and I was like, oh, so this is how people actually feel about me. Right. And it took me time to reflect on, look at all the work that you did. Look at how much questioning you did to yourself. And I know myself of how I'm improving, how I'm, you know, constantly trying to better myself. And a lot of people telling me, like, this podcast also has really helped me too. Yeah. Because of what people are saying about, like, you know, being, you know, a great host and being a great friend to them. And it just really clicked after all that work for me to be like, oh, I actually am enough. Yeah. And I don't have those, even when I'm struggling, even in the worst moments, like those thoughts of like suicide, like aren't there anymore. How did I get there? Was a lot of, I think, like I said, asking myself, do you genuinely think nobody likes you? And if the answer was yes, then why? And I had to go through a therapy exercise where it was like, had to be concrete evidence. Like, it's not a social interpretation. It's not me thinking what you think of me. It's straight what messages you got, what have people been telling you. And that's where I was like, oh shit, like, people do actually like fuck with me.
Right.
And it's not because of, you know, how I look, or it's not because my financial status. It's not because, you know, all these other things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's a very great question, because I never had to answer that. Like when I finally felt like I was good for myself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just been this whole journey with that birthday, and then reading the messages, and then having my love language is words of affirmation. So for people to tell me their words about how much I mean to them, really resonated with me a lot. Yeah.
Which I think is interesting, because, you know, it's definitely really is like, don't judge a book by its cover. And, you know, the first time I saw you, I would not have thought, you know, you were going through all those struggles, because it's just, it didn't seem like that way. Like, that's not how you presented yourself, like, at all. And, you know, and like, you know, you seem so confident, you know, you always seem so happy, you know, you were always bubbly, you know, you were always surrounded by people. So, you know, I always thought, you know, like, you have no worries, like no cares in the world, kind of thing. And it wasn't until that birthday party, like when you gave your really tear-jerky speech.
Yeah, bro, I was crying like a motherfucker. Oh. Yeah.
That, like, you know, I finally realized, I was like, oh, like, you had all these struggles, and like, you know, it never showed. Like, I was surprised. Like, you know, it's always so interesting. Like, you know, you never know how someone struggles until someone, you know, actually says it.
Yeah. I think at that, when you were mentioning that, you know, where you first saw me dance, that was actually like the start of it all. Like when I started to really like be in a very bad mental spot. I don't even know if you were at the dress rehearsal, but like I was just like, I was going through in my head, and I was like just going through the motions of all the movements. Right. So I didn't even put any feeling into it. And I know people were coming up to me afterwards, at least people in my crew, like, are you good? Like, what's up? And yeah, you're right. There's more to what's behind the book cover, for sure. Yeah. Well, Cortney, I want to say, you know, thank you for unpacking. I know that was a lot to unpack, and, you know, being vulnerable, opening yourself up. I got to learn more about you and how you're navigating life, what you've been healing from. And, you know, I want to say, like, you know, a lot of props to you for getting to where you are now. You should be very proud of yourself, especially with, you know, what happened to your sister. I know you're having some family stuff, and you're navigating and pushing yourself to some great limits and trying to live life to its fullest, and as you should. So I want to say thank you for coming on, and you're doing great. And please, you know, never feel like you're a burden to reach out to me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great, you know, talking to you, and I'm glad we've been able to get closer, because freshman year in college would not have thought I would be able to become friends with the Randy.
Oh no, don't say that, please. Don't worry, that Randy was always weird, so don't worry about that. So Cortney, I want to get into questions from the audience. The first question that I have for you is, any tips on opening up to others without feeling like you just overshared too much?
Honestly, like, you can like look up questions on like Google, like the very basic, like, you know, how to get to know somebody, and just kind of riff off from there. But also like being engaged with the other person, like when they share something, like kind of listen to what they're saying, and then you can riff off of that. Like, ask a question. Like if they say like, you know, they have a cat and they like cats, you can be like, oh, like, you know, do you have a cat? Like, what kind of cats do you like? Or like, how'd you get into cats? You know, those kind of questions, and just kind of riff off of that. And then I think that helps you to be able to not overshare so much, but being able to share certain things. Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a great answer. And I think for people that maybe overshare too much, I'm like, do I overshare? Because like I feel like I talk a lot too. I think it's just being conscious of what they were asking at that time. You know, like you said, if they were asked, if someone was talking about cats and they asked, oh, do you have a cat? Like, oh no, but like, you know, I would like to know about more, and ask the questions and stuff like that. I feel like I'm a pretty open book, so I feel like oversharing doesn't even register in my head. I mean, obviously, if it involves someone else, like involve my partner, I'm like, all right, like there's a line, and I'm not crossing that. Like if she's not here to like, you know, talk about it or anything like that, like that's not my place to tell. So I think it's just also being aware, like if you say something, like be aware it could be shared around, and like, are you comfortable with that
Mm-hmm.
being passed on to other people as well?
Yeah. No, that's a good point too. Hold your cards tight to your chest just in case. Yeah. But if you've built that relationship with that person and you can trust them, definitely have at it. You know what I mean? Have at it. Tell them everything.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Courtney. So I want to get into the next segment, and as a listener of the show,
yes,
I think you know what's coming next.
Oh boy.
So I reached out to your partner Jerry and asked him to write a letter to you about how much of an impact that you have had on his life. So I'm gonna have you read that letter out loud.
Oh boy.
And I'll give you a tissue just in case.
Is it bad that I already kind of started tearing up? How much did he write?
He didn't write that much. That's half that page. It's half that page. So I'm gonna give you that tissue first.
This will be interesting. He never writes anything unless we're apart for more than a week.
He told me, he was like, this was a hard thing for me to do.
Oh boy.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, take your time.
By the time you read this letter, it will have been 1,143 days since the night we slow danced to the Taylor Swift song Lover. Since then, I have always admired how patient, empathetic, and genuinely caring you are toward the people around you. When I was feeling down or sick, you were always there to support me without hesitation. I often think about how lucky I am to have such an amazing, lovable, and wonderfully goofy partner in my life. You always make me laugh, inspire me to keep growing, and embrace every bit of my randomness whenever we're alone. From stargazing under the stars wrapped in a blanket, to becoming bigger foodies together through delicious dishes, to building healthier habits side by side, you changed my life in the most beautiful ways, and I can only hope I've changed yours in the same way. I know life hasn't been easy, but I'm confident you'll push through and become an even higher version of yourself. Whatever adventures or challenges lie ahead, I'll always be by your side to support you. I'm really excited to keep writing our story together and can't wait to make more unforgettable memories with you. Love, Jerry. Oh.
I guess how, reading that letter and, obviously him taking the time to do that, how does that make you feel? Or, what reflections do you have on it? Also, take your time. Take your time.
It's definitely crazy to think about like everything we've done so far. We've been together for three years at this point already. So, him like going through like a bunch of these memories together, it's like, we've come so far, but it's always nice to hear it, because like he was telling me the other day, like, you don't see the growth in yourself personally, but from an outside perspective, like, people can see whether you've grown a lot or not. And he's always telling me, like, you've grown a lot since we started dating. Like, I know you can't see it, but like, trust me, like, you've definitely grown a lot. And just keep doing what you're doing, and I'll always be there to love you.
Jerry's always so sweet. So sweet. Jerry's also been a past guest, by
yes.
the way. But I think you kind of hit a nail on the head on the purpose of this. The purpose of this episode. I mean, the segment is to show my guests like how much they impact and how much they are. When you were talking about, like, when did you figure out you were enough? This is a reminder that you are enough in what you do, and you don't realize, like you said, the growth and the impact that you have throughout this like certain period of time in your life. I know it's, if you think about it, kind of short compared to, like, what an average lifespan is, but like, we don't give ourselves enough credit to really in what we're doing on a daily basis to be better, to help others around us. So I mean, like, you just have to, it's just a simple reminder, and like, we just don't do it as often. But just remind yourself that you are enough in what you're doing. So any other reflections on that, or that was the main? Like,
I think that was the main one.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Courtney. So let's get into the last three questions. I'm gonna give you. These are called the big three questions. And my first question to you is, if you could sit down with a younger Courtney, what would that interaction be like?
Oh boy, a lot of tears. For sure. I think it also depends on which Courtney we're talking about. If we're going to elementary school Courtney, probably, just hang on. Like, your sister's gonna come home. Like, don't worry about it. Middle school, probably, just hold your head up high. Like, these people are stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, as much as they're bullying you, like, you'll come out on the other side. Like, don't worry about it. High school, you're going to get out of that town soon enough. You're going to college. College will be so much better. But also just don't forget, like, the people you meet. Like, there's a lot of, like, really good people you've met in high school. And then, just keep living every day. Like, there are bigger things that are coming your way. So just, take it slow.
I like how you broke it down between different parts of your life, for sure. My second question to you is, what does becoming the highest version of yourself mean to you, and how are you doing that today?
To be genuinely okay with life. For sure. And I think just kind of taking it one step at a time. Every day is different. And, if some days I feel like the world is coming down, just, accept it, get a good night's sleep, and hope the next day is better. But also just realize, like, you have a support system around you, and to utilize that support system. Sometimes don't feel like you're a burden for, spilling your feelings, because sometimes just talking it out loud will help a lot. And, I do that with my partner a lot. Just if I'm feeling sad, just, talk it out. And sometimes he'll have good things, but sometimes just lending an ear can also really help.
My last question to you is, if you could connect me with someone to come into this podcast, who would it be and why?
To be honest, I don't have anybody on my list.
That's okay. Is there a guest that has been on that you kind of want to know more about?
Lynn might be someone, would be a good podcast guest to go back to. Honestly, that's it. I'm pretty sure you have like an extensive list already. I don't want to add to your
No,
big
it's fine.
list.
It's fine. It's fine. What is it about, I guess, Lynn, through her episode that you still had curiosity questions on?
I think just probably like an updated version, like how she's going through life now that she's kind of experienced everything, or just kind of living life now, because she's living her life with her PhD, having fun with that, and just kind of going back and seeing how she's kind of grown from what she's learned and where she is now.
Yeah, no, Lynn was definitely on one of my lists to bring back. Trying to navigate through her schedule.
Exactly.
All right, Cortney, again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for unpacking things with me and kind of going through, obviously through some trauma, but I know it's all things that we're working to heal on and become the highest version of ourselves. So
thank you so much.
All right, guys, if you liked any part of this episode, please clip it, tag me and Cortney in it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when the next episode comes out. And as always, let's fall in love with the process of getting better every day and becoming the highest version of ourselves. Love y'all.